All right. And we're back. The second half didn't go much better than the first half. I still think there's some positives out of the game, but what is your biggest impression, Nathan, after that game?
Man, they really should have recruited a little bit harder on the offensive line and defensive line this offseason. That's my big takeaway. I think they were really hoping to get some improvement from the offensive line and the defensive line. And we did talk about at halftime. The defense just getting worn out. But I mean, at some point you got to look 300, almost 300 yards. And on the ground, 7.3 yards a carry. They averaged 3.4 yards a carry last year as a team. 3.4. So letting them double that up and then some is
Yeah, they returned a lot of guys on the offensive line. North Carolina State did. They brought in a transfer that's a pretty good player. And I think the defense just got worn down after that early period of 3-and-outs by the offense. I think if you look early in the game, they were going toe-to-toe. Then as those plays started to pile up on them, then it got a little bit tougher. I think the problem with thinking that they didn't go hard enough in the portal is everybody's looking in the portal for alignment on both sides of the ball. I mean, Florida had to bring in three defensive tackles in the portal.
right.
It's not like I think those are the most competitive positions in the portal is the lines of scrimmage. So they may have tried to, but it didn't happen for whatever reason. This game looks a lot worse, and I think the second half was pretty bad. I thought after the first half there were some promising things maybe to build on. Second half wasn't great.
Nope.
I think it just got away from them. They had no way to get back to it. One of the things you're going to have to look at is we've talked about, will they respond to being punched in the mouth, so to speak, right?
Right.
I think we've been looking at it as in terms of will they respond in game. I think you're really going to have to look at it. Will they respond after the first two games of the season? These are probably your two of your toughest games, maybe your two toughest games against teams that are a lot more talented than you. How are you going to respond to that? If next week is like this or worse, what's the response? Because I think this team is better than last year. I think this team can be competitive in conference, not with everybody, but I think they can be competitive against a lot of teams in conference. So I feel like a lot of people are throwing out the season already. They were 20-point underdogs.
Right.
It was very unlikely they would win this game. We were talking about before the game, they were about a 47% chance to cover the 19-point spread. So I feel like a lot of people are kind of already done with the season. I think you gotta pull back a little bit.
Yep. And I mean, I think one of my big three questions the three questions that I had going into the season is Cade the guy? Is the defensive line better? And will the coaching decisions be better? There's still huge question marks, and maybe even more so. From the coaching perspective, you pull Cade, 5 or 6 drives in. Understandably, he wasn't good. You go with Timmy. He showed some flashes. You start Timmy in the second half, and then after again another bad throw in the red zone. I get that, but I mean, at what point you got to be able to stick with one guy and just let him take his lumps. Now, if this coaching staff doesn't believe that they don't have the time to do that, then you need to figure something else out, because this in and out shit's not working.
Yeah, no, I understand their thinking. I necessarily agree with it. Probably not, but the thought is in the first half when you bring McLean in, you've got to run the ball because you're going 3-and-out so fast your defense has no chance to recover. So you put in McLean, I can run the ball a little bit more effectively with him in there. They put him in there. He sparks the offense. All right, well, he sparked him. Let's keep him in. Let's let him keep going. He's making some plays. So then gets the second half. It's like, let's let him go. He just made a – yeah. Well, Tulsa lost to UC Davis, so it could be worse.
It could be worse, guys.
So, and I think Tulsa's a dub coming down the road.
I think we've talked about it ad nauseum as well. I think Tulsa is very gettable. Philip Montgomery is Diet Lemon Booty for a reason, folks, and he just showed it tonight.
Yeah.
There's a reason I have called him Lemon Booty for 2.5 years. It's that right there.
Yeah, they lost a lot off of their team of their lifetime. They're going to have some problems this year.
Yeah,
but back to the quarterbacks. You put in McLean. He gives you a spark, so you decide to keep him in. At this point, once he throws the second pick, and they were both bad picks.
They were not
bad picks. Yeah, Fortin's pick, he gets smoked trying to throw it. The receiver gets held a little bit. It's a pick, but at that point in the game, it's kind of like whatever. McLean's were both bad because you were in scoring position. If you don't throw the picks. If he just runs for 10 yards, you can kick a field goal or something. You don't get shut out. So that's kind of the tug with freshmen is they're going to make mistakes like that. And then you bring Fortin back in. At that point, I think if you keep Fortin out, I think you lose him for the rest of the year. Mentally, he's done. If you were telling him he was the guy, and then you take him out after 4 series or whatever, and then put somebody else in, he's done. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do going forward. I think you might have to play both of them. Because I think that would make you the most difficult to prepare for. Fortin, once he got settled down in the second half, you hope it's not a thing where he's just not a pressure player. You hope it's just rust because he's had how many games he's played in the last 5 years? 3?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, so it's not like he's some seasoned vet that is coming in. He hasn't played very much. He's played 3 more games than Timmy McLean has. So. That'll be an interesting one going forward. What do they do there? Do they just go with McLean and take their lumps and, maybe lose a couple extra games just because of those freshman mistakes? I wouldn't be so quick to throw out the whole season after tonight. It was a game you were picked to lose by 20 plus. I thought they would score. I didn't think the defense would be able to stop North Carolina State very well, but I thought they'd score a little bit more on offense. They had some stuff there. They didn't hit it. So, you got to go back and see what happens. But they didn't have a terrible plan. And then I think the game just got away from them. And at that point, you're just kind of grasping at straws trying to find something.
Right. And you mentioned Cade's interception. Michael Wiggs and DeMontre Jacobs just completely whiffed on the pass off of the stunt. Cade gets smoked, and then on the very next series, you have a new right guard and right tackle, and Josh Blansford and Dustin Hall were in after that. Mop up duty, probably get some run, but I mean you can't let your quarterback get smoked because it happened back-to-back plays, I believe. So they have questions on the right side of the line, and the left side's not much better. They're gonna have to figure something out. And it's not going to get fixed at versus Florida, that's for sure. It's you may get a little reprieve from FAMU. Maybe get bamboozled into thinking things have changed, and then you get on the road at BYU and then at SMU back-to-back weeks as well. So, I mean, we're standing at a tough first 5 games before we get into that soft part of the schedule that we talked about: Tulsa, Temple, ECU, like that. That's where you want to see the improvement.
But that's not – I don't think that's I agree. But I don't think that's not out of the question what we thought coming into the season.
Right.
Well, obviously, we hope they were a little more competitive tonight. But it's not like we thought they were going to go into North Carolina State, roll them, come home, roll Florida, and just roll through the season. We thought these first 2 weeks would be tough. You get FAMU. You're hoping you kind of get untracked there. Then you go to BYU, and that's kind of, I think, where it really starts, where the talent is a little more level. What do they have when they play BYU? If they get blown out there, then you're like, okay, we're not progressing. If they go into BYU and win, play a tight game, and it's kind of a coin flip, then you kind of know a little bit more about where you stand. I just don't think you can look at this game and just throw out the whole season. There are no, Marvel what if. There's like one universe where they're winning this game.
Right.
It's not happening very often, right? So it's kind of you just got to kind of take it. Obviously, you'd like to be more competitive, but I thought the defense played well early, and they just got worn down. And I felt like they are a better team this year. The scoreboard's not really showing it, and they kind of did everything we kind of said. All right, you got to win these areas to pull an upset.
And they did the exact opposite.
They did terrible. So we can look at that. I think
let's look at the comparison. That's going to be the fun one.
So our 3 areas, third downs. Here we go. You got to win third downs.
Nope.
3 of 16 on offense. Let them be 8 of 13 on defense. Big L there. You got to win the turnover battle.
Nope.
No. 3-1. Lost that one. And you got to win the explosive play battle. I think we have. Where's the explosive plays on here? Big plays.
There it is.
USF had 4 in the passing game, 5 in the rushing game. North Carolina State had 4 in the passing game, 9 in the rushing game. So you went 0 for 3. So the 3 ingredients you need to pull the upset, you went 0 for 3. You're not going to win that game. You're not talented enough to win when you do that. So, I think what positives do you have from the game? Let's think about positives, because we kind of talked about the negative, and that was just talking about the game as is. But what positives can you take from the game?
Andrew Mims had 14 tackles.
He did.
He did. Led the team in tackles with 14. Jimmy Horn looks really fast. Got to figure out how to get him more involved.
Somebody said punting. I think they did pretty good.
Punting, yeah. Andrew Stokes. Let's see if we can pull up Andrew Stokes' stats. Special teams.
45.1 yard average.
2 for over 50. 1 inside the 20. A 66-yarder. I mean, was really close to pinning them back at the 5 or 6 there. Just have
that one. He had one kick up on the 1-inch line.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to die. I think they hit it in. Yeah. Somebody said Heath in here says there are at least 3 touchdowns available where passes were missed. That's what I thought. I think that's another positive. Receivers got open. The past couple years, I remember last year we're watching the Citadel game up in the press box, and I'm like, these dudes are not getting any separation from the Citadel. Like, guys were not getting open. So I think it's a positive. They're playing a pretty good defense, and guys got open. We have a guest joining us on the line. Nick Simon is in the house.
Hey, bud.
What do you think, Nick?
Hey, man, we have a quarterback of the future, I guess. Like that's great, I guess. The hell was that?
I thought Nick had a tweet in the first half, and I referenced it at halftime, but I thought this was maybe the most important point you could take from this game when you look back at it. Maybe 2 years from now, you're looking back at this game. Nick said Timmy is not scared, and he's not.
He was chucking it, man. Like, he was stepping up. He was chucking it, and and that's really all you can ask for, man. And I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a point in the midway of the third quarter. I even posted it in our chat where I'm like, you know what? I don't necessarily feel too bad about this. I'm seeing some good things and stuff, and it just snowballed from there. Like,
this USF football team has been, if they feel snake bitten like the last 3 years, they get down what looks to be an easy targeting call.
God,
I guess his head needs to come off his body.
If that's not targeting, I truly, truly do not know what is.
So instead of being first down inside the 10, it's 3rd and 4, and then your receiver does a really bad job with the pick play or the rub play, and now it's 3rd and 19 when it should have been 1st and 10 inside the 10. And then you throw a pick, so you get no points out of that when you should have the ball 1st and 10 inside the 10. That's just some of it's bad luck, some of it's just young guys. But I think you saw some flashes from the young guys tonight. I think that's one thing that's positive.
Hey, those jump passes though, more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, McLean is such a dynamic runner. People are going to load the box up on him. He's going to be able to do that because if you don't, you saw North Carolina State, even as good as they kind of owned the trenches, they were still having to bring blitzes off the edge to contain him. That they just went to we're going to have to bring two guys off the edge. So if he pulls the ball, we got to have 2 for him. And then once you start doing that, you mix in a little play action, and now you got some stuff you can do. So if they do decide to go with McLean more as the season goes on, he's got something. He's got something to him, right? Don't you think? He's got a little, that it factor, a little moxie. He's a player.
Oh yeah, and I think I think the players, it's kind of clear the players can definitely see that, his teammates can definitely see that, and as the season goes on, as he gets these reps, hopefully he continues to get these reps and develops more moxie and more confidence. The players can definitely feed off of that. They can definitely tell that, and
yeah,
it'll be something. It'll just be something because coming out of this game, that's all we ask is just something to grab onto, right? It's one thing to just consistently get shut out and blown out by this, but just give us something, man.
Yeah, and I mean on the other end of it, I don't think anybody's covered Jimmy Horn yet. That dude is lightning.
He's very quick, and it's going to be exciting eventually. But it ain't right now.
That's going to be that's going out with the season ticket sales. It's going to be exciting eventually.
I mean, my Lanta. I mean, at this point, right? You see what Timmy can bring. Why not? Why not just give him the rest of the season? Who cares? Who cares? I mean, screw it. Let him take his lumps now. Figure it out. Figure out what he's good at throughout the season, and just let it ride. If you lose Cade, if you lose Jaron, so be it. You've got 2 guys already committed. There's going to be another 40 quarterbacks in the transfer portal next year that you can pluck from. I mean, let the kid who clearly showed something tonight, let him just run it. All right, and if he's not the guy, a year and a half from now, that's fine. But you gave him the shot, and we're starting the process over again, and we're probably that much closer to finding the guy or finding a new coach or whatever it is 2 years from now. I'm not saying Jeff Scott's not on the hot seat right now. He won't be for probably another 25 games.
Yeah,
but
no, I and
figure it out.
Yeah, I think they're going to watch and see. He definitely has got to play. This is. I think the red shirt's dead. So any thought of that is out the window. He's got to play. He's got to play because he adds an element. Do they play them both together? I don't know. I think we're. And maybe he's just not that guy. Cade, maybe he's just not that guy. But I mean, I think we're being a little quick to throw him out totally. I'd like to see him when he's not getting smoked every play by a really good defensive line. That would be helpful. It would be helpful to evaluate. Maybe that's going to be the case all year. So maybe not. So maybe
so wait until FAMU, I guess.
Yeah, the FAMU game. So I don't know, but McLean does add. He adds something. He's got a little bit of swagger. He's got a little bit of moxie. He's just got something to him.
The thing is, it's you've already opened the seal on McLean. Going into the game, we were like, okay, cool. We're gonna they made it very clear that they at least wanted to ride with Cade, good or bad. But once you open the seal with McLean, that's out the window. You can't go back because we've seen this movie before, how these seasons like turn into disasters when it's like, okay, this guy's gonna be in this week or this guy's gonna be in next week.
Yeah.
Like, you've opened the seal now, so you might as well ride with the freshmen.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was an interesting decision to stay with McLean to start the second half. I think if you go back to Fortin then, maybe it's not. But now it's kind of like it's really, I think, up in the air. Because I thought, and we talked about before you came on, Nick, that bringing in McLean was a smart decision, not just because Cato wasn't playing well, but situationally you needed to run the ball. And McLean let you do that a little bit easier. But, then once you start in the second half, it's kind of like that's out the window. We're starting a new half. You've had time to settle down. So, you just stay with him, try to let him work through some of those mistakes. But then he makes a similar one later and throws the pick again. But that is going to be the question. That was kind of my big win when we did the TDS group, which I've already had some really terrible answers on already so far. 3-1 game where I'm not batting 1,000 this year. But my one thing is when I think the question is what is progress. My question or my answer was who the quarterback is by the time the season's over, and then how Jeff Scott wants to play. I think those two might be linked, and we'll see how it plays out the next few weeks. But there is something to putting a guy out there when he's young and letting him make mistakes. But the other side of that is you get a guy like Felipe Franks at Florida, who when Dan Mullen came in, he said, when you let guys go out and play when they're not ready, it can have a really long-lasting impact on their career at quarterback. So there's kind of two sides to it, but he definitely adds something to the offense. He's got to play more than they probably thought he would coming into the season.
Folks, I mean, let's see. Line on Florida is probably going to be like 30. Yeah, that seems fair, honestly. We'll see what they do against FAU and Willie Taggart this weekend, but I'd be hard pressed to not take Florida in the points at like 25 to like 35. I'd take the points and hope that Florida can just outscore USF, which I think they can. But man, that's there's so much excitement going into the year to just have this kind of a thud of a game.
Again,
that's 3 years in a row. USF has been shut out in their FBS opener. 49-0 to Wisconsin in 2019, 52-0 at Notre Dame last year, and now 45-0 at NC State.
Made Devin Leary look like a Heisman candidate.
Yeah, I mean, he looked really good.
He's good. He's really good.
He's very good. Zonovan Knight and Ricky Person are actually really good running backs.
Yeah, this is not a bad team they lost to.
No, I mean, we showed it in the pregame show. Ricky Person's 24/7 composite ranking was like 95. He's no slouch.
Yeah, they got a good play. They got good players, and what was the biggest mismatch on the proposed depth chart since we never got one? The biggest mismatch was the North Carolina State defense against the USF offense. That's what the talent rankings that's what they bared out, and that's kind of what happened to this game. So, I think this is obviously a tough one and a terrible way to start your season. But I'm let's talk again about like where this team's at in 3 weeks.
Right.
Let's see them play. I want to see BYU really. That's the measuring stick, I think.
Yeah.
Because that is kind of I think they're closer on a talent level.
Because BYU has their starter this year is Jaron Hall, who was the quarterback when we beat them a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So we'll see how far along he's come along. And that'll be a true, like the actual measuring stick.
Yep.
Yeah, I think if you get waxed there, you're in bad shape.
I do want to address one of the comments. Daniel F_96. Don't talk enough about Weiss. Been a bit of a disappointment. He schemed guys open. There were guys open. Cade and Timmy weren't hitting them. Cade, especially early on in that first quarter, he wasn't hitting them. He had Jimmy Horn wide the F open and overthrew him. The pass to Bryce Miller that gets tipped. There were plays. The 3rd and 6 to who was it? Latrell Williams that he just threw up and over him. He wasn't.
Yeah.
We showed it in the halftime show. Just sailed it over his head. Another one on an in-breaking route that he missed, thrown behind him. It's the plays were there to be made. They just weren't made. So I want to say that Charlie had a pretty good game plan going in. I mean, he schemed it up pretty damn well. It just the execution was a big old turd.
Yeah, that first, and then the execute. I think somebody said that first screenplay on the first drive is getting roasted. That is just a really bad job by the receiver. It makes the coach look like an idiot. You're supposed to run flat down the line, and then for some reason he started veering away from the guy instead of just running by him.
Yeah, he needed to get his alignment checked. When you release the wheel of your car and you start veering off that much, there's something wrong with your tires.
You want to catch that thing on the run towards the sideline, not on the run towards the front pylon of your own end zone. So.
Yeah, that was less than ideal. I mean, between Seth's prediction of Latrell leading the team in catches and yards, I think
I just said yards. No, don't worry. I said yards, and then I said Dollison will lead the team in catches. So that's he played about
what they do. He was culprit of that opening kickoff penalty in the second half by. With him and Christian Williams being on the field at the same time.
Double fours.
I mean, the stupid ass penalties that we had today it makes me feel good because I know it. It's comfortable, right? It's what we know. But it's still bad. So Latrell, two catches, -5 yards.
5 yards.
That's an Alex Mutt stat line right there.
Hey, now Omarion Dollison is only 1 catch behind the team leader in catches, though. So I'm not too far. He had 1, and the team leader's got 2. And so I'm not too far off there.
The team leader had 6 more chances too. So I mean,
feed Dollison. Feed Dollison is what I'm saying. Yeah, I thought there was some interesting kind of some of the substitution patterns were interesting at receiver. We didn't see some guys we thought we would, but we're not at practice, so who knows who's been practicing well or not. But I think we're going to see more young guys. I think we're going to see more Jimmy Horn. We're going to see more Timmy McClain. It looks like it'll be interesting.
I want to see more Yusuf Terry. I want to see more DeMarcus Gregory. I mean, they were highlight films in camp and barely played. Sean Atkins got more run than both of them in the first half when the game was not out of hand. So got to see what's going on. And then Nick O'Brien, sorry if I mispronounced your name. No, it's McNeese State, and it will forever be McNeese State. Like USF's football program could dissolve. And people would still be like, maybe that McNeese State game was the worst day in USF history. So there's
Hey, misery loves company. Like, we're not the only AAC school that fell flat on their ass tonight. Tulsa lost to UC Davis.
Somebody might be losing to Boise State 24/7 last I saw.
Yep.
And and ECU got smacked by App State. So, I mean, Tulsa and ECU are 2 very winnable games for USF. No matter USF clearly played the best team of the 3.
Yes,
and
you got a Tulsa ECU Temple stretch, I think.
Yeah, you can really do some damage there. You can catch up on your win total pretty easily during that stretch, and Houston still has to play, see what happens.
I think we're overrating the importance of this game. Some people, just reading the comments, just in terms of talent, North Carolina State was 32nd in the team talent composite. USF was 73rd. That's basically the difference in talent between Alabama and Iowa or Baylor. I mean, that's talent is coaching is important, but talent is probably number one. You can have the best coach on earth if you don't have guys that can make the plays. It doesn't matter. As we saw with, you can scheme your receivers open, but if the quarterback can't hit it, it doesn't matter. So I don't know. I know we're all upset about this first game, but I'd like to let's see how the season progresses before we totally think that it's over and the program is going to need to fold because we're not going to get a chance at a Power 5 or the AAC is going to fold. Let's calm down a little bit. I think
we knew it was going to be rough early on, guys, and we're going to have to take our lumps. We knew these first two games were going to suck ass, and far, so good in that regard.
Eric says Iowa or Baylor scores. Do we not remember Alabama and Michigan State in a playoff game? Didn't Michigan State get shut out?
Old Connor Cook.
I mean, it happened.
Didn't Notre Dame get shut out by Alabama like 2 years ago?
It may have been Clemson.
Whatever game. It was like 30-0, man. It was.
Yeah, it happens. Obviously you don't want it to happen, but they drove the ball inside the red zone, I think 3 times, came out with 0 points. So just one of those days.
Yep. That Seth Greenberg always, he had a famous quote, sometimes you're the tree, sometimes you're the dog. Well, tonight we were the tree. So
there you go.
It happens. I assume it'll get better. It's what's really crazy. It's, just face value. Technically, USF did better in the second half. They only allowed 21 points, but my God, that was the worst second half I remember in a long. Like, I just felt existential dread. Like the Notre Dame game last year, it was already a laugher by like 5 minutes into the first quarter. But it seemed like NC State was able to run the ball, and it seemed like that second half was never going to end. So we'll move on. We'll have a film room this week. We'll do the podcast. We'll have some great content up. I think the gamer will be up here shortly, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll figure it out probably. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, my thought is let's wait and see how the next few weeks play out before we totally jump off the ship. It's a game you were a 20-point underdog. You're gonna lose. Obviously, you'd like to play better. I understand that, but let's see how they play the second half of this non-conference stretch and then going into the conference. I think you may come out of October and be close to having an even record, and then you're feeling pretty good if that's the case.
Agreed. Nick, how about yourself?
I tweeted what I said in the Stampede group, that the only thing that really matters is just upward trajectory. The one thing I just really wanted to see is when you fast forward to the UCF game in November, is that team going to be miles ahead than the team we just saw tonight? So obviously that's still in play. There has to be
much worse
to be done, but
they're trying to set the floor really low.
Yeah.
But that's all I wanted to see. Just even next week when we're just getting our asses handed to us by Florida, just show us something. Show us something we can grab onto. Anything, just positive momentum. Also, play Timmy. It's clear. Play Timmy.
No.
Yeah, and I think with that, we are out of here. Be safe. enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Don't do anything stupid and reckless. We want to see you guys back here on the live stream that we'll have this week for our podcast, the Illuminati podcast, sponsored by Irish 31. Go to Irish 31 this weekend. Check them out. They've got some great deals. Football Saturday is a huge thing for that. So go check them out. Go watch some college football. Eat some food. Have some fun. And we will have tickets to give away this week. We've got 2 UF club seats that you can go inside to, so you're not sweating your balls off all night, all day. All right. So
They serve alcohol, right?
Yeah, they do.
There you
There's
go.
alcohol. There's alcohol in there.
And AC.
And AC. So you go hang out in those nice plush leather seats. Watch USF. There's big screens. If you guys haven't been to the club section in a while, since Ray J got renovated, it's beautiful. And then we also have 2 more UF tickets to give away as well. So we've got 4 tickets to give away, 2 sets of 2. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. Have a good Friday. Be safe. We out. Go Bulls.
Go Bulls.